Good evening, this is Pineleaf Needles, and welcome to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at the latest news in LOTRO and here at LOTRO Players. Tonight I have with me Andang.
Hey everybody.
The Mysterious Mystery is back. She's being mysterious.
No, I thought I unmuted and it didn't unmute. I actually said, "G'day, everybody."
It's been a while, hasn't it, Mist?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, too long. But the planets are all lined up, and I have internet. I have a voice. I'm not moving house. It can't get any better.
Isn't the planets lining up usually a bad thing?
Well, in my case, it's a good thing.
Okay.
We're on the opposite side of the world to you, so what's good for you?
Oh, right, that's it, yeah.
Yeah, so.
Right. We'll just have to wait until the birds, or where the birds will come in and steal all her stuff or something like that.
Look, you guys and the birds, honestly, I swear. Have you never heard birds before?
Yeah,
I
have ravens and I have ravens that I hear every morning outside.
Well, what's wrong with my rainbow lorikeets?
All right. Brax Wolf.
This is awesome. It's like 10 seconds in and we've already derailed the whole podcast. This is a world record for us.
It feels like an episode of Random Fandom, to be honest.
Yes, okay.
My other show.
Achievement unlocked.
Yes. Ethelrose.
Yes, I'm here and I'm not so mysterious.
Okay. And Draculetta.
Greetings, everybody.
Now we have a good deal of news, and we'll begin with the Helm's Deep news. And to start with, there was a video released this week on the Helm's Deep Western Rohan landscape. And this was...
It was a good video by Turbine. Another great, well-edited video. This one had a lot of the devs speaking, which I personally always enjoy. And then it also had a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff showing like the creation of Helm's Deep and several other areas. The main thing that we saw here were the glittering caves, in my opinion. That's what really stood out to me.
Yeah, this really showcased one of their major strengths, which is the landscapes and the world building. And I think they even had the senior world builder producer on there too, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's the thing they've always been best at, in my opinion at least.
Yes, and the two things that stood out in my mind was, one, they're telling us that we'll be doing a good number of quests for Eowyn as she prepares to evacuate Dunharrow. And the second was that when they were designing Helm's Deep, they decided to think of it as the area have been carved out by a glacier.
Which,
I like the fact... Sorry.
No, go ahead. No,
I was just saying, I like the fact that they're actually putting that kind of thought into how they're designing the zones. You know, look at it from a realistic point of view, what kind of, how the landscape will be built and stuff like that.
Right.
Going back to the Eowyn thing, was it just me or was that concept art a little, like, odd? When they flashed that up, I was like, what?
Well, maybe.
Maybe it's just me.
No.
They gave some hints about the epic story too, about how you're going to be uncovering some of the things that Wormtongue had been spinning in Rohan for some period of time. I thought that was kind of interesting because they haven't said a whole lot about the epic other than general things.
Right. But I figured, though, that since this is the main story, since this is by Helm's Deep, we do have to do something against Wormtongue during this one, because otherwise, how are they going to get to Helm's Deep if Wormtongue's still in control?
Yeah, they definitely talked about Eowyn and Wormtongue at the press event that we went to a few weeks back, and they're definitely. I mean, that definitely seems like those two things will be a big focus of this, along with the Battle of Helm's Deep, obviously.
They seem
Right.
very fond of Eowyn.
Yes, Team Eowyn is how they referred to it. Yeah.
Team Eowyn, yes. Boy, they're going to really love it when she arrives at Pelennor, right?
Yeah, they're gonna make that her moment.
Yes. We also had article by Massively on the landscape.
Yeah, there really wasn't that much that we learned here. It was, a lot very similar to the video that came out, but I mean, the article came out before the video, so it was information at the time. One really thing that stood out was the wording and just the way he worded things made me get really, really excited for the expansion. I had 3 quotes that I put into the article and that we wrote on LOTRO Players, and definitely go through and read read Justin's article, because it's really, really, the way he words things is just really, really well done, and definitely will get you excited.
I like the way he used the word horseplosion.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
for the
Which-
fountain. Yeah,
Yeah,
For the
Yeah.
fountain.
there's really no other way to describe that.
which that fountain looked just absolutely amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, that screenshot was great.
Mm-hmm.
Very well, yes. Now we also had 2 dev diaries, the final 2 class dev diaries, the Runekeeper and the Warden. So anyone have any comments about the Runekeeper diary?
Well, I most spent almost all my time in the red line, and from there it didn't really seem like they would be changing much about how it feels, aside from the changes to attunement, and that seemed to be how it was for the rest of the lines, at least from the way I read it.
Yes, the big change that I see is fewer skills, so therefore they made an update to attunement in that skills will no longer be gated through attunement, and instead, it's hard to tell by their exact wording, but it sounds like they're saying that some skills will be more powerful when you're attuned in that particular direction, and the other thing is they do mention about there will be some cash out skills which will cash out the attunement and set you back to normal, which reminds me of what happens on War Steeds. Because I remember when I first tried running a Runekeeper on a War Steed, I was wondering, what's going on? What's my attunement doing for me? And why is it suddenly neutralized? Is I didn't realize what was happening in there. And it looks like they're doing the same thing for the standard form.
So as it is today, it takes longer to swing back and forth on your attunement. Is that what they're changing?
Well, that's when it is because the attunement steps are going to be larger, and now if you wanted, currently it's hard to re-neutralize yourself. I think there's one skill, that Steady Hands, that allows you to do that, but I think it has a long cooldown. I've never actually used it, and I can never find it.
Yeah, it's one of the legendaries. I never really made much use of it either.
Yes. So apparently in this one, you're going to have, say... So therefore, if you wanted to go from max damage to max healing, you'd have to shoot off 18 healing skills in order to do that, and the first 9 of them are going to be the same 2 skills because everything else is locked out. That's how it currently works.
Okay.
Now it looks like here what you do is, first thing, you throw a cash out skill of use one of your cash out skills for your damage to do one final big damage, then you'll be neutralized, and then maybe depending on which skills you use, maybe you'll take 3 or 4 skills in order to get yourself maximized on the other side.
Makes sense.
So we'll see how it works. And like, for example, one of them is Words of Exaltation, which is a bubble skill, and so therefore the amount of the bubble will depend upon what your attunement is before you cast it.
Yeah. One of the things they mentioned, I think, in this dev diary was that some of the skills would be removed. One of those is Rune of Restoration, which is being moved to the blue line, healing. I could see a lot of runekeepers being upset about that because it's quite a common thing to use it as a distraction. If you're pulling multiple mobs, you can plant your runestone and then kill one, and the other two will go straight to the runestone, and you have time to prepare for that.
Well,
So
they
I think
do. Oh.
I was just saying that not having that as a general skill is gonna cause a few problems, possibly.
I suspect a lot of runekeepers are going to. Right, they make it sound like it's at the bottom of the. It's early in the tree, so that you could probably get it with only a couple of points or something like that.
Yeah, I just think that quite a few will probably resent having to do that in the first place.
Well, some players will resent anything that happens, but it is naturally a healing skill, so. And of course, we also had the Warden Dev Diary, which is the last of them.
You take it away.
Yeah, I guess so. Therefore, in this, they're talking about that Wardens. I get the feeling that there aren't really any major things. In other words, we're still going to be gambits are still going to be the key to the Warden's abilities in that whole thing. The biggest thing they're saying is that there's only going to be one melee stance, and that how the melee stance acts is going to depend on how you're trading, which seems logical enough. And that probably helps to eliminate some of the stance switching that you will see in some wardens, in some places, especially in the moors, in jumping back between DPS stance and tanking stances. You won't be able to do that anymore because how your melee, because you only have one melee stance.
Thank the freaking Lord.
Yes,
seriously, I just it tires me so much seeing them being able to do that in the moors. So yeah, not being able to do that anymore would be a big plus.
Yes, and that most of the gamuts will be our general gamuts. There are a couple of them, like Exaltation Battle, that are going to be on the trees, but most of the gamuts are going to be available in all trees. The second thing they noted is that the assailment stance will no longer have a minimum range. Instead, if you're being hit by melee attacks, you'll start gaining a debuff, which is going to affect your ability to hit in ranged combat. So you'll be missing a lot if you keep on sitting there throwing javelins while you're being smashed in melee.
Well, does it say what kind of debuff it is? Because I presume
okay. Well, you're right.
It
It might be reduction in damage or something like that.
Yeah,
yes.
I presume. I thought it would be damage, but because I don't think they've done this sort of thing before, where the range being hit by a certain type of attack will, lower your effectiveness at range. So it's an interesting way of doing it. It's probably better than just outright disabling it when they get to a certain point.
It's a lot more logical than what they're doing currently. And they did have a clause in there that said, but we've also made a concerted effort to trim down the number of gambits and skills that you have to memorize and store on your hotbars. And I'm thinking, my hotbar on the Warden is already rather trim. So I don't know why we need to reduce the number on there, but okay. That sounds like the one class where, okay, maybe reducing a few of the gambits so that we don't have as many memory, because let's face it, there are some gambits I've never memorized.
Yeah, I heard a few people jump all over that statement. I think they lost a little bit of credibility with that sentence. They probably should have proofread that a little bit better.
Yeah, because it doesn't sound, it sounds rather weird. We'll have to see it there, because yes, the Warrens are the one class that don't have an overabundance of things on their hotbars. But of course, we have, what is it, 34 days?
Although I have seen some of the longer term, long older Warden players being upset at the amount of skills they have in the hot bars at the moment, probably used to having like 5.
Well, all right. We'll see what happens. And now, of course, they did not say anything about the end of the might and agility thing, but we're going to be pretty sure that they're going to get rid of that grace
Well, yeah,
period because it's the logical time to do it.
Turbine
right now-
hasn't always been logical.
Okay, I'll give you that. And that is it. Anyone else have anything to add on the Warden?
I thought it was a weak
Pleasant.
diary.
Well, I think that's probably true for a lot of them.
Yeah, but it seemed like they got better for a while, and then this last one was pretty weak.
Finally, if I guess you didn't submit your resume soon enough to do this dev diary. Being the knowledgeable one about wardens.
Well, yes, but it also required one to be knowledgeable enough about what's happening on.
That's true, yes.
Yes.
But I'm sure they could invite you to it and say, okay, now we'll lock you in a room, now write the dev diary.
And then they erase your memory afterwards.
And then they just
Right.
erase your memory. You probably wrote that and you just don't even know.
I doubt it. It doesn't seem to be quite my writing style.
If that's the case, then I apologize for what I said.
Right. So we'll head on to 40 questions.
Yes.
And
And
that's because there are so many questions that they decided to answer 40 instead of 20. And of course, it's spilled over into October, so they owed us 20 questions.
yeah,
Anyway.
I would like to say though that a lot of the questions were repeats from stuff we already found out either through press conferences, videos, or other 20 questions. They just re-clarified or something like that.
Well, that's because you still have people asking the same questions over and over again.
Yeah.
Right. And so I only put 10 points, I think, in this article, and really only 5 of them or less were really new information.
Yeah.
But there were some big points, like how many big battle instances will there be at Helm's Deep at launch? And their answer was 8. And they said that the Glittering Caves, or all 5 of them will be available solo and duo. And the Glittering Caves will be 3-player size, Helm's Dyke will be 6-player, and the Deeping Wall will be a 12-player full raid. That's very different than what we were led to believe earlier. They did say that they wouldn't all be, all sizes, but I don't think anyone thought that there would only be 1, 3, 1, 6, and 1, 12.
Yeah, it seems a bit sparse.
Right. I thought that we would have. I thought that each instance would or I should say, each battle would have one other size, but I thought that all 5 of them would have one other size, so that we would have maybe 2 3s, 2 6s, and a 12, or something like that. Of course, back then we thought there'd be more than 5 battles.
That's true, yeah. So it just feels very limited, especially since they're putting in these new trees for you to progress. This is going to be like the big end game. You'd think that there would be more content, but it does say at launch. So hopefully, if the system's liked or if it goes well or whatever, they'll add in more sizes. Hopefully.
Yes, that's what
they
we can
did
hope.
say that they're hand building each number of players in each one, so it would obviously take time to build each.
Yeah.
But maybe they can add 1 or 2 others for the update after it. We'll have to see.
Hopefully.
All right. Now, how I wanted to handle these things was go through each of the sections and see if anyone had any questions they particularly wanted to address in there. And in fact, the one that Anding mentioned was what I wanted to discuss on epic battles. But does anyone else have anything they wish to discuss in the epic battle section?
Yeah, I did. I thought the way they explained the roles was interesting because I don't think they ever told us before that you're not actually going to go in and select a role and then stay in that role for the whole epic battle. It sounds like you're going to go in. There's going to be certain tasks to do that are that align with that role, and you pick them as the battle goes on. You don't necessarily do the same thing for the whole battle. I think that was new information, and that was interesting to me.
Yeah, it's good to know that it's not just being locked into it. At least that's what they're saying.
Right. We'll have to see how it really works.
The big one for me is that Volume 3 is still not going to end.
Well,
this
that's
expansion.
the next area. Right now we're in epic battles. That's the main thing. That's for a later section.
I'll bring it up again then.
Okay. Yes. So
'Cause it
epic
annoys me that much.
Yes. All right. So anybody else have anything on epic battles? All right. Class changes.
Was there anything really about class changes?
This was
Well,
all
yes, they
review.
had. Yeah, they had several questions in that section, but the only one that even vaguely looked interesting was they were saying that yes, they are revamping the armor sets, but if that's the most exciting one I could find, obviously it wasn't a very exciting section. But under there, they do discuss. They finally answered the question because someone threw this out during the dev diary for the Guardian and say, well, as you all know, the thread is being changed, but of course, we all didn't know. So therefore, someone asked, what's the reason for the threat system and what they're doing? And HorseDev answered, our threat system as it exists on live pre-U12 is largely invisible to players, and if you saw under the hood, you would likely not be pleased. Rather than expose it, and seeing as we are making fundamental changes on how the character builds function, we decided to simplify it. Choosing a tank specialization will give you a tangible amount of threat. We will still have a force taunts, but whether or not something multiplies your damage times a strange number modified by another strange number will be irrelevant. That still doesn't say much, but they're just saying they are changing it.
It sounds like with this new system, hunters might be able to get away with more, and other DPS classes.
Oh, I'm in favor of it then.
All
Me
right.
I'm
too.
sure the rest of the group is too.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, I read this and I went, okay, so we didn't understand the system to begin with, and you vaguely explained how it's going to change, so it doesn't really, I mean, like you said, Pilot, it's just telling us that something's changing under the covers. That's about
Right,
all.
but I mean, I don't think that they really meant to go into an explanation anyway. I think they're just saying that, we're making changes to a large portion of the game, and this is something we're working on, and just want you guys to know that, we're thinking about a lot of things as opposed to it, and giving us a little bit of a warning that this might be different when it launches.
A strange number
Sorry.
multiplied by a strange number sounds just like algebra to me. That's how my whole academic career was with word problems.
Sorry, guys. Brax, in future, can you refrain from saying under the covers? It kind of makes me want to go to bed. No, could we just say behind the scenes?
I forget how tired you are. I apologize.
Well,
Should we not mention counting sheep either?
no, particularly since there's a Kiwi that can hear this as well. So, and if you know Kiwis and Aussies, you'll get the sheep reference. But
Yes, I very much get it.
Okay. I think we could move from there.
Sorry, I'll go back to the corner now. The beanbag was nice and comfy.
All right. Now, the next section is labeled mounted combat, but it seems to be mounted combat instances and the Moors all lumped together. And the only thing I noticed of any interest that I thought was the second row of corruption slots for creeps.
Yeah, I mean, we don't really know what changes are coming to Freep's side, so assuming that they're not getting too much more powerful, that's definitely a good step in the right direction.
To be honest, I didn't really expect us to get anything with this expansion, so the fact that we're getting a second row of corruption slot is something, and I'll take it.
Yep.
Of course, I haven't exactly filled the first row of my corruption slot, so that's going to be a real whoop-de-doo.
At rank 6, Pineleaf, we need to talk afterwards.
All right, that is. All right, legendary items and crafting. I don't know about you, but the only thing I know here is that they're saying that not in Helm's Deep, but in the next update after that, they expect to have 3 new resource instances.
Yeah, that was the only interesting thing I found. I'm not a crafter at all, but I know that a lot of people love those instances. I've done a couple of them, even though I'm not a crafter, and they're really good.
That's interesting, seeing how I remember back in the days of Moria, one person said that he would rather poke out his eyes than go into a resource instance.
Yeah, but I think with Rohan they did a better job with it.
All right.
One more thing. So question 26 talks about crafted traps going away, which is one consumable that we'll no longer have. And I think they kind of alluded to that in the Hunter Dev Diary, but they never really came out and said it the way they did here.
Right.
So will they just give you like uncrafted traps and you have to assemble them like in combat beforehand?
Yeah, maybe it's a mini game.
Yeah.
No, I think they're just saying that all the traps are probably going to be part of the Trapper Foes line.
Yeah, they're going to probably be skills. Instead. Yeah.
So there's a good chance that my champion that has a trap that was gifted to me by a hunter that I for some reason am allowed to use will not be able to get any more of those.
I don't know. The only traps I remember ever being allowed to use are ones that are gained through quests, like the Advank traps you get when you're in Talmud Thadris.
Those are good, yeah. I don't remember where I got these traps, so.
All
to
right.
be honest, there was nothing really in the legendary items part that interested me because they're not doing anything with it.
Yeah.
And I think if they're doing class revamps of this size, I think they should have taken the opportunity to rebuild the LI system too, because it's just terrible as it is now, at least the way I see it.
Yeah, and that's something I've been pushing for a while, is hoping that they would be making changes. It's not a closed door yet. They might be, not with this expansion. I think it's definitely a closed door with this expansion. But I hope that after the class changes die down a little bit and they figure out everything that's going on, and that's going to be at least after the next zone update in spring, until they get classes figured out, I'm guessing.
Well, the kind of problem I have with
next
it
expansion they'll have those legendary item changes.
Well, it's the problem I've had with it is every time they've been asked about it, they don't say it's not on the cards right now or we don't have plans for it. It's we're happy with the system as it is. And I mean,
yeah,
I don't see how they could be happy with it, knowing how bad it is.
Oh well. We'll now go into pricing and store questions, where they gave us the price for Helm's Deep in the store will be 42.95 turbine points.
Didn't they already give that on Twitter a while ago?
They gave it on Twitter. Yes, that was a sneak peek into
Earlier
the
in the
40
week,
questions thing when they gave it in Twitter. That was a sneak peek of one question answered before they actually published the full thing,
Yep.
which is why I'm covering that here.
One more question that wasn't really a question.
What?
So it was 20 real questions.
It was like 3 real questions, and the rest were just.
All right, let's see. And finally, we get to the general area where.
Actually, there was something I want to bring up with the pricing store thing. 29, they say that since there will not be separate quest packs, big battles will only be accessible to those who purchase the full expansion. I mean, with Rise of Rohan, they were able to split it into all its different components, the riding, mounted combat stuff, the quest pack, and then the instance cluster. Obviously, with this, they're combining the epic story with it. So it seems like you either buy the full 4295 expansion or you can't get it at all.
Well, I think that this is the most interwoven expansion, at least from what they've said. So that could cause it to be hard to figure out how to separate and still have the story make sense to anyone playing any individual part. But at the same time, it's just an excuse for them not splitting it up.
With that, now to the general area, where, as someone brought up earlier, this will not be the end of Volume 3. It looks like they're saying that they think that the Volume 3 will end in the next update, or I should say in the next epic book, because there's probably only going to be one left, which to me means that there'll be one of three places where they'll be ending Volume 3. One of them is the Fall of Isengard. I think that's unlikely. The second one is when the Grey Company and Aragorn meet at the Fords of Isen right after the Fall of Isengard. Because we started trying to form the Grey Company, and so finishing up when the Grey Company finally arrives at Aragorn sounds like a nice time to do it. And the third possibility is with the passing of the Grey Company into Dunharrow.
Okay, let's have everyone choose one of those or pick a new answer that they come up with. So let's start with Brax.
Oh, start with me again.
I didn't want to start.
You're special.
This is such a shot in the dark, though. I think I'm going to just guess Fall of Isengard. Dartboard.
Okay, Etheros.
I would rule out Dunharrow because I think too much time would pass between Helm's Deep and then that part for it to be the next book. I'm not sure. Put it on the fence. I think it would be Fall of Isengard, but I'm not 100%.
Okay, Fall of Isengard. Pineleaf, what's your answer?
As I said, I don't think it'll end. Now, I think the Fall of Isengard will be in the next book, but I think that the next book itself, assuming it's the last book, will be when Halbrand and Aragorn meet at the Ford of Isens, right after the Fall of Isengard.
All right, Mist.
All of the above. Is that an option?
Nope, that's not one you can make up. I'm sorry, it has to be one of the answers.
Okay, well...
Unless you mean that it's going to go to the end and cover all of the above.
Yes, that sounds right. I go with that answer.
Okay.
Because honestly, I wouldn't have a clue, so yeah.
Yeah, when I said Dunharrow, I meant it including all three of those would then
Right,
if it
yeah.
went to Dunharrow.
Oh,
So it would have had
change.
to be a very long book. No, my answer
that's
is
how it's always
Halbrand
been.
meeting Aragorn.
All right. Well, I'm going all of the above because some of their epics can get long.
Okay, so
As we
you're going with
noticed.
Dunharrow then.
All right, Drac.
I gotta agree with Pineleaf. It's almost got to be at the ford with the Great Company in Aragorn.
Yeah, I mean,
Logically, that makes the most sense.
It's called Allies of the King. We're having all these going back to the Dunedain and then going back. I don't think they're going to have that continue into the next volume, and so they definitely have to meet up. And I would expect it to be exactly where Pineleaf said. That being said, it is a short book, or I mean, it is just one book, and it's typically the non-expansion ones are shorter, and so I don't know if they'll be able to cover that ground, but I'm going to go ahead and stick with Pineleaf and think it's going to be that answer.
What do we get if we win?
Do you want to bet, Andang? Because I could bet.
There you go.
We get
You'll
to
afford it.
go back and relive our predictions when we find out the answer once we do our review show. That's what we get.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, anyone else have any other things in the general section they wish to discuss?
Just the reminder that your seals are going to get reset. I mean, it happens every time, but some people might not have been around for too many expansions to realize that that happens.
Yes, and so when your seals get reset, they get converted into medallions.
Medallions, yep. So if you're
Things-
saving seals, they're probably going to get converted when they will get converted.
Yeah. When they do get converted, they tend to get converted at a better rate than if you did it yourself. So don't do it yourself just before the expansion because you'll get a better rate. Or at least that's what happened last time.
Yep.
Yeah, just a minor thing for me is 32, where they talk about with the introduction of upscaling and then plans for downscaling. So obviously, some of the instances we have at the moment are at a set level. They could theoretically use the tech to scale you down to that content and probably make it easier than having to rebuild the content to scale. And they just basically say that they're still working on it and they want to see how it turns out for Helm's Deep. But they also talk about that it would be really strange to have some instances scale to you and then other ones where you scale to it. I think they'd have to be all one or the other, really.
Yeah, so they want to decide. Right, because it is rather inconsistent with different things happening in different ways. Especially some people are going up, some people are going down, and things like that. We'll see how it works. Anyone else, or are we ready to go to the next stage? And that is store sale. Oh. Did I hear a breath?
Yeah, I was going to go, yay, next stage.
All right. Store sales. Our free sample for the week is a 100% XP boost for 1 hour. YEHXP. I guess that's yay XP.
Yeah, XP.
Yay! I might actually get to level 42 on Landravol if I get it. Assuming I get time to play, but yeah.
Minor
Go
detail.
level 42.
You know,
And-
looking at the stuff that's for sale this week, I get the feeling they want you to level. That's just my vague suspicion, but that seems to be what they want.
Well, you mean because the things that are on sale for 20% off this week are expansion quests, so that you could have some quests in which to level with. 100% XP boost for an hour. I know that sounds familiar. Enhanced XP supply and Outriders tokens. In other words, XP stuff.
Yeah, as I say, just a vague suspicion, really.
Yeah, a vague suspicion.
Turbine's small hint that, hey, we're raising the level cap, so you might want to level.
Yeah.
Or they just assume that the player base wants to level, and they're giving that to us because they think that people want to buy it. And the sales before expansions always are like this. So
Right. Now let's go to LOTRO Players News. And our things. And of course, the biggest thing for this week are the Fellowship Walk items, where I think just about all of our articles seem to be about them this week.
mm-hmm.
Go figure.
Right. So of course, we still have donations open. So if you want to donate to Child's Play, you could just go over to LOTRO Players and hit the donate button.
But also, if you want to go party with the trolls next week when we walk, please donate now, because we need to reach 3,000 to do that. And
Yeah.
it'd be such fun to go trolling with the trolls.
Right.
Yeah, and we also have the different giveaway tiers as well that will definitely help out in the donation stuff. And let's go ahead and read those off. So, if by next Saturday, the 12th of October, at 1 p.m. when the next giveaway tiers go up, if we make it to 2,000, we get a Mithril Edition giveaway. 2,500, we get a Riders of Rohan expansion giveaway. At 3,000, a 60-day VIP code. At 3,500, another 60-day VIP code. At 4,000, the Quad expansion pack containing all 4 previous expansions, and at 5,000, which is our overall goal. If we reach that by October 12th, then we will be giving away a Helm's Deep Premium Edition, which thanks to Turbine for allowing us to buy those codes now so we can give them away.
Yay! I want the Helm's Deep. I'm not going to buy it now. I want you to give it to me.
Wait. Isn't there a people involved in this?
There is people involved, direct family,
Excuse me?
birds outside your window. All of them can't win.
Oh, good, you didn't include cats. So Eli Baggins and Wicket, Wisteria, Warwick are entering.
Good thing you gave their names so we'll know.
I should have stayed away because then I could say I'm not tied up with the walk at all. I've had no internet. How could I be?
But if you had no internet, you wouldn't have been able to enter.
I would have got it back just for that week.
Ah, okay.
Just in time. See?
And don't buy any new pets and name them new names that you'll use as surnames either.
Right.
Oh, sheesh. What if... well...
We have some auction items.
Alright, I'll just go buy my own, alright?
There you go.
Weta has 3 auctions. One of them is the One Ring. How's
Yes.
One Ring doing right now?
Let me find out.
It was
all
actually
time.
doing really well the last time I looked.
Yeah, it's currently at 208. And
Wow.
that auction ends
Yes.
at October 21st.
So go out there, bid $210, and world domination can be yours.
That's right.
Because who would walk through Middle-earth without the One Ring,
Right.
as Magnus said.
The second item is Disturber of the Peace.
Guys, Golden Star still has this spot. We talked last week. We talked. We had a strategy. I thought we were friends, but she's still got the same winning bid. What happened?
So are you saying we need to take sides between you and Golden Star? Because you know who I'm going to pick, right?
You're gonna pick me? Yeah,
I think
know.
Golden
It's very
Star
evident.
I think Golden Star should get what Golden Star wants. Let me put that down.
Well, at least make her work for it a little bit. I mean, come on. And all the donations go to Child's Play, so you know, let's get a little bit further.
Right.
Well, I have noticed also that Bagshot Road, which is up, the winning bid on that so far is a certain Golden Star as well.
Yes, at $35, she outbid me. So see, now this has become personal. It wasn't really personal before, but now it's a personal thing. It's kind of like a slap in the face to Ann Deng after being very, very mean to her on the podcast, and I totally deserve it. But it's
Well, and you're just going to have to bid $40, all right?
I am. You're right. I am. Next
But
week.
I like that little Hobbit house.
Yeah.
So
Now,
Yeah, it is very cool. And a big, big thanks to Weta and Magnus for donating all those items for us to auction off. That's definitely a huge, huge help to our cause and to Child's Play.
now Disturber
it
of
is.
Disturber of the Peace seems to be ending on Monday.
Does it end on Monday?
It says to
Yes.
October 7th.
Oh, guys, come on! We got to get something done here.
And it says, oh, sorry, that's October 7th at 12 a.m., which means that'll be... So the last day to bid is tomorrow.
Oh boy.
Oh, crunch time.
Yeah, so, and that's a very nice print, that one, of Gandalf in the Shire.
Yeah.
So, yeah, go for
this-
it, people.
Yeah. We also have 2 guest host slots that are currently up for bid. One is for LOTRO Players News, that is this current. So therefore, I hope
Who laughed
no
at that?
one... Let's see.
There's someone that has this bid, I don't really
Atheros!
recognize their name.
It's going to cause the internet to crash. Two people cannot be in the same space at the same time. It's just against the rules.
That's right. So here's the thing. Ethros asked if he could bid on this, and I said, you can bid the minimum bid, but you can't bid beyond that. So basically, we just wanted to make sure that there was some kind of bid on this. And if Ethros does, in fact, win this auction, we will probably open a new one and just make him donate $1.
No, I want to interview myself.
We can arrange that.
He could be a split personality then, yes.
But we might also allow someone else. But anyway, if you want to be part of this show, which tonight's not the best marketing campaign for it, but if you do want to be part of this show,
I blame Mist.
go look in the show notes.
Now, what I have to ask you is, if we're only going for $1, why is LOTRO Reporter going for $57.50?
That's because they're all combining their money together.
They got out there earlier. You know, it's just time to market.
Yeah.
All right, and that one ends on October 20th.
And their show actually, when they mentioned it on their show, and a big thanks to them for mentioning that, even though it is towards their own show, it is still helping out the walk. And I guess the bids went up really quickly during their show. So big hats off to them. And just a reminder that you can find both these bids and all the auctions and everything else we talk about in the show notes at LOTROplayers.com.
Oh, yeah. And you could also appear on Lily Kate's Creatures, and there's a bid for that, but no one's bid on it yet.
That's because of the amount of work Lily Kate has to put into this each week. She decided that it's easily worth, and I totally agree with her, it's easily worth a starting bid of $10. So please go bid on Lily Kate's Creatures, help the Fellowship walk, and be in a video for till the end of time. You can watch it every time you go to sleep and hear your wonderful voice on Lily Kate's Creatures.
Well, she'll cover sheep then, yes.
And Mist will not like it, yeah.
Hey, it doesn't bother me.
All right. The next thing up for auction is they relisted the skirmish with Pine Leaf because the first attempt to do so was a 1-hour auction while everyone in Laurelland was sleeping.
You know, it's still enough time to auction. People are so enthusiastic about having the opportunity to skirmish with Pine Leaf. We thought if it was any more than $1, then it would just, do all the other auctions a disservice. So
right.
That's why that happened.
Well, unfortunately, no one has bid on it yet, despite the fact that they've had time.
Now, honestly, skirmishing with Pine Leaf is some of my favorite moments in LOTRO. We've made several videos on it. Every single time you skirmish with Pine Leaf, you learn something new about skirmishes. You might
or at least have a good laugh.
I thought I was a really, really, really big skirmish buff. I leveled several characters just doing skirmishes. I still learned a lot of stuff skirmishing with Pine Leaf. It's definitely worth the money, and yes, as Pine Leaf said, he will at least try to make you laugh. So there you go.
Well, the thing is, if no one bids on it, we will relist it and get some bids on it. And if you're just not sure, then join us for a leg of the walk. And we'll skirmish with Pine Leaf at some stage, and you can work out, yeah, this really is fun, and I want to do it again, and go bid on it. So
that's right. And while we're talking about the next stage of the walk, let's go ahead and mention that next Saturday, October the 12th, at 2 p.m. Eastern Server Time, there will be the next stage of the Fellowship Walk, where we will be walking out of Bree and hopefully all the way to Bilbo's Trolls. So if you want to take part in that, be sure to join us on Landerville's server and at Bree at the stage, and join us for the walk next Saturday, 2 p.m.
Yes.
Be there.
And we have Anjune Ensemble kicking us off with some music that day.
Yes.
And
very cool.
You really need to be there. For all the little surprises and what have you. So, and to enjoy some good music. So be there or be square.
Yeah, the
Well,
walks are very different than previous years. There's all sorts of events going on the entire time, and at most stops, while we might not even schedule bands, there will be bands walking with us. They'll just start playing songs. So it's definitely a great, great event each time, and sometimes we're even surprised by what
And
takes place.
where else do you get 50 people to line up to slap Lalia?
yeah.
Yeah, there were close to 100 this time. It was a lot more, and towards the end we actually were even more than that. Once we were in Bree, we were probably around 150. So big thanks to everyone for showing up for that.
Now
She
the
deserves
next
so
item
many
up,
more slaps than that.
yes, yes.
I did slap her, I think, 6 times, I want to say. So,
Okay.
hopefully everyone else did that so that we could get
Right.
in the extra ones.
Now also the next auction is the Windy Acres Ranch Steed Unlock auction for Langeville, and by Steed Unlock that means that the winner will get tons of reputation items so that they could turn these in and get up to kindred with various factions: the Men of Bree, the Matham Society, Thorns Hall, Elves of Rivendell, Lost of the Forkel, Wardens of Numinous, Rangers of Stelden, the Council of the North, the Iron Garrison Miners, and maps to get you to the various locations, and gold so you could buy the steeds.
And, sorry, just as a side benefit to that, because even though the horses are awesome and everyone wants the horses, the amount of turbine points you can earn doing that, just going up each level of your rep, you'll earn quite a few turbine points doing that as well.
I believe it's 50 from neutral to kindred.
And if you do that across several factions, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be
There was-
50.
There was 10, right? So that'd be 500 turbine points.
Yep.
Yep. Let's see. I think of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I count 9.
Okay.
Okay.
But that's 450 plus the extra points for, I guess, the lost stuff. I guess there might be 5 extra for that.
Yeah, because you start as below neutral
Right.
with that.
Mm.
So yeah, so it is very well worth it, that one. And thank you to Windy Acres for doing that. That was a brilliant idea.
Yeah,
Yes.
definitely. And there are several more auctions that we just don't have time to mention all of them on this show. But if you go to our show notes, you can click on the auctions part. There's definitely links for all that stuff. And you can see all the auctions. We had several more, a ton more, almost double added this week. Lily Kate and Mist have been busy posting a lot more auctions, and we've been getting more donations from people for in-game stuff. So a big thanks to everyone for helping us out. And if you're too lazy to go to our show notes, there's even a banner on the right side of the site where you can click and go to the auctions from there.
And there will be more auctions posted this week. So
Okay.
Now,
just to let you know.
right. Now, contests.
Where's all the videos, people? Don't you want to die? That's all I've got to say.
Right now, we don't have any video submissions, do we, Mist?
No, I logged on this morning thinking, I'm going to watch people die, yay! And there was nothing.
So if
How
someone,
disappointing.
if someone just like randomly died from just a normal fight and they just happened to capture it on camera, and it's just been sitting on their hard drive for a while, for like say a week or so, they could send in that video, couldn't they, and get entered into our contest and probably have a really good chance of winning.
Particularly if they're the only person that does it.
That's right, yeah. So go ahead and create a video of you dying, and in-game, of course, not real life, and send it in to us. And
Yeah,
have a
no
chance
suicide.
of,
No
I mean, it
zombies
is
may
dying, so
apply.
it's not necessarily killing them. So
See, what got me is I've had lots of people message me in game and say anytime I want to die, they're happy to come die with me. And yet, all these people aren't doing videos of themselves dying. So where are you all?
Where's Rolf?
Flossin makes a good
Oh.
recommendation. He says that we should have somebody solo Draycock and just send that video in. It just takes a few seconds, just run in. But I don't know if you can solo Draycock, actually, because of the way it works. But I think it's
Well,
gated.
I think you could die very quickly going against Draycock. I think people have done that.
But I mean,
And
yeah, just
I
fall
can
off the
vouch
cliff.
that I can vouch the turtle will kill you in 10 seconds flat.
Yeah, definitely.
So, but yeah, so, and speaking of Rolf, sorry, just a little off topic. Rolf actually did send me an email saying that he's been listening to Lotro Player News and has been enjoying it. So, hello, Rolf. He's got internet issues at the moment, so he can't actually get on much of them at
Okay,
this
well.
present point in time, but he is listening to us. So,
Hey,
there you
Rolf.
go.
Big thanks to him. And if you'd like to give feedback to our show real quick, a little bit of a detour, you can send them to lotraplayers.mymiddleearth.com or at gmail.com and do that, and we will possibly read it on the show. And you can also click on the Join Us tab or the About Us tab, and I think the emails are there as well in case you don't know how to spell that out.
Yes. We also have a screenshot competition, a cosmetic competition, and a poetry competition.
Yes, we do.
Is there a
we've
competition to
had-
win as enough competitions?
Oh, well, there's the treasure hunt competition, and there was spot the creatures competition. So,
Right.
And once again, a big thanks to Golden Star for being a guest judge on the cosmetics competition.
All right.
We stopped saying competition now.
Okay. So we're going to titles then. The Unexpected Traveler.
Yeah, all you have to do is send Lillicate an email at fellowshipwalk@gmail.com, I believe, and mention something that you saw on the live stream, mention something that you saw in-game that we would know that you were there or saw it or something, and you can actually watch past live streams and just watch a little bit of it and then say something that you noticed, and you can send that in and we'll give you a title. So it's that easy. Also,
Right.
apparently, you don't even have to do that. You can just donate, and Lillicate, as long as you leave a comment, Lillicate will hunt down your character and give it a title. So there you go.
Whether
All
it
right.
wants it or not.
Yes. Well,
Who
you have
doesn't-
to, you do have
Who-
to enter in the code.
yes, you do. And
That
who
should make
doesn't
you
wanna-
enter it.
Who doesn't want to be an unexpected traveller?
You might be drowning in titles.
Yes.
Yeah, but then you get the people that actually collect titles, so this is a good one for them.
Yeah, it definitely is.
I'll give you that.
Be rare.
Now we will. Anyone have anything they wish to comment about today's walk, which was leg 2 of the fellowship
Leg
walk?
3, actually.
Was it leg 3?
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
yes, leg
Yes.
3. See, I am getting. You're right. It was leg 3. Then.
Yep. And
I showed up.
yes, Miss was with us. A big thanks to everyone who donated. We were worried that we might not even walk at all this week because we were a ways away from our donation goal, but luckily we had a party at Tom's house to help us get some more donations in, and we also then walked even further all the way to Bree out of the Barrow Downs. So apparently the team did not want us to stop there, and so we got there, and we even had someone who matched a donation. So thanks to everyone who is involved in donating today and the entire time during the fellowship walk. Thanks to everyone who's paying on the auctions and all that stuff.
Yes, thank you. And thank you for doing an excellent hosting job of the walk, Lily Kate. Pardon me. It was good to see you up on the rock, because I could actually see you when you were up on the rock. Once you got off, though, it's hard to see a little hobbit. So I just figured I'd bring up the rear and make sure everyone stayed sort of in between Lily Kate and the end. So, and I noticed the Sons of Numenor were there today on their horses. Thanks, guys, for showing up, and it's good to see so many people participating.
Yeah, it's really amazing to see this many people getting involved in game, and a lot of people have to leave at certain parts of the walk, and even more people come and take their place. So, a big thanks to everyone who showed up at the walk, at the different walk events, and everyone who's watching the live streams and telling people about it and helping us try to reach our goal. One thing that was really cool for this walk was we actually had some really, really good poetry done by several people, and also some good bands performing. So thanks to everyone who did that as well.
Yes, thank you. So there was something else I was going to say, and now you made me forget it.
Ooh.
How dare you?
Does that mean we are finished with the Fellowship Walk discussion and on to something unexpected, like an unexpected vidcast?
Yeah,
Well,
you can.
finally, after a segue like that, I think we just have to move on to the unexpected vidcast.
The unexpected vidcast, which had the final part of Big Barrow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Say
Yes,
Big
it was-
Barrow. 'Cause that
Big
sounded
Barrow,
very sinister.
Big Burrow, yes.
That sounded very sinister.
Yes, Big Burrow. Well, since it was, when you consider that they're showing the Eye of Sauron on that thing,
Considering
Big
it
Barrow
is
might be more
technically a
appropriate.
house owned by Sauron, apparently, and this whole thing's like staged by him or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. But definitely an interesting result. Not what I expected. Very surprising, but it was based on fan votes, the entire thing, and it's a really cool way to involve the community. I can't remember anything that's even remotely like the Big Burrow that's been done in LOTRO. So a big thanks to Pashbro and everyone that's involved with that show to being so creative, and even after the 6th year in LOTRO, still thinking of brand new ways to engage audiences and keep people having fun.
I want to know where he got his name from. So if he'd like to send us a mail to let me know how he thought of his name, that would be really good.
Yeah.
Hashbo? I thought he went over that in one of his...
He might have, I don't remember.
Yeah, and with the walk, I don't have time to go back and listen to all the old episodes. So, you know, I'm being lazy, okay? But yeah, if he could send me a mail and let me know how he got his name, that would be really good.
So this
Thank
is
you.
funny. Just a funny quick story about the unexpected vidcast. Last week when the final came out, I've noticed that when I click on that video, all of a sudden all my kids gather around to watch what's going to happen in the Big Burrow. And even my 12-year-old, I told him he had to go do something like brush his teeth first, and he was almost whiny about it. He's like, but I want to see what happens in the Big Burrow.
It really is good, and he did a good job of building suspense. I mean, I think that this is really a great way to captivate audiences. If you have not watched Unexpected Vidcast, which based on the view numbers, there are some of you that watch this show that have not watched his show, assuming that each one of you watched the show and we have similar audiences. And so, you know, go watch. It's really a great way to keep you captivated. I don't remember what episode the Big Burrow starts, but go ahead and start at the beginning of Unexpected Vidcast and watch through their various videos. They do a fantastic job. There's definitely a high quality with each of the videos, and it's really well done. So.
All right. Now, Brax, I believe you have a pick for this week?
I have a pick this week. Most of our creative writers on LOTRO players have been really wrapped up with the Fellowship Walk the last couple weeks, so we haven't had a whole lot to pick from, but something else has sprung up in the community that I wanted to highlight. There's a new site out there focused on the artists and the arts in LOTRO, Lord of the Rings Online, and it's called LOTRO Artists. LOTROartists.com is the URL for that. So it's a pretty interesting website. It looks really nice. They just launched it last week. I think it was headed up by Floridine, who's a contributor to LOTRO Players, And I know that Lila Kate's involved, and Fiona and Kelly and Bluebonnet and some others I think have actually contributed whiteberries out there. So a lot of people that are really involved in the artistic side of LOTRO. The site covers things such as music in Lord of the Rings Online, art that's inspired by Lord of the Rings Online, and I think there's even it said there's a section on the culinary arts, so I guess there's Hobbit-inspired cooking out there, maybe some recipes to try and things like that. Probably the biggest thing that people are going to go to this site for is that there is an events calendar on there that talks about, or it highlights the events for all of the servers across Lord of the Rings Online. So if there's a concert or a party or something going on a specific server, there's a place to put that on this calendar. So there's kind of one place to go for people who are looking for that type of information. And they're also... Go ahead.
Sorry, I was just going to say the calendar is brilliant. So I know that before I went offline, I checked the calendar a couple of times to see what was coming up and what I could go to. So yeah, it's definitely worth going to that site. And even if the only thing you use is the calendar, it's just brilliant. So sorry,
Yeah.
I'll stop interrupting now.
That's okay. I only had the one other thing to mention, which is they are also launching a podcast to go along with the site. And I don't know how often they're going to be releasing episodes, but I know the first one is out there, and it's an interview with Akazia, who is in the Shades band. So go ahead and check that site out. I would highly recommend it. And as we all know, the more fan sites out there for Lord of the Rings Online, the better the health of the community. So we fully support this site, and we think that it's really headed in a nice direction.
Yeah, and I see that they have a big advertisement for Arch at 8 already.
Yes, definitely a good cause there to help the city of Arch repair. And that happens early next year.
How come it never seems to actually get there? Is that because not enough people donate? Or do they drink too much ale and just keep missing the nails?
Miss, did you not get your check in the mail?
No.
No, Miss.
Well, you're not supposed to talk about that on the show.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah. Remember, that's the whole point of Archidate, is to pay all the podcasts to just promote it and not tell them that it's actually a fake thing.
Well, it's a good thing that I'm honest and don't take blackmails.
Yeah. Actually, the real reason is because every time they rebuild Archit, the Black Olds come and burn it down again.
Yes, that is true, because LOTRO keeps getting new players, and they keep causing the city to burn down. So if that didn't happen, we would be in a perfectly good place.
So, in other words, stop making alts and burning Archit down.
that
is the moral of the story, yeah.
All right. I'll take that check now.
Right. This show is brought to you by Amazon.com. Use the widget on the side of the site on any purchases to help support LOTRO players. This show is also sponsored by Weta Workshop. Use the code WALK13 on checkout for 10% off on your purchase. This code is valid until the end of the walk on October 24th. Now, of course, we are encouraging people to make their donations to Child's Play, but if for some weird reason you wanted to instead donate to LOTRO players, there are donations. Sorry, Pine Leaf.
Okay, so let's go ahead and explain this. So, just so you guys know, Brax was deleting stuff on the show notes and causing the words to move up across the gap between two pages that is always annoying in Word documents. And so that caused Pine Leaf to totally mess up on his reading. And so
I was trying
Brax
to be
apologized.
discreet. I'm sorry.
No, that's great. So yeah, if you guys do want to donate to LOTRO players, there is the option there. But honestly, donate to the walk. That's the main goal here. LOTRO players will be able to survive through the walk without that, without you guys contributing. If you really want to donate to us and help support LOTROplayers.com and their various podcasts, then you can do that, and it'll cover hosting fees and stuff like that. But we already have it covered through the end of the walk, so no need to donate to us until after that. Then we might need some funds beyond that point. But anyway, you can definitely donate there. But if you do decide to donate to us, there are $5 and $10 mentions, where for $5 you can get a mention on any of the 6 participating podcasts of your choice, and for $10 or more you can get a mention on all of the participating podcasts.
Anyone have any final thoughts before I go into the closer?
I should make a note that many Barrow-wights died again to bring us this week's fellowship walk.
Yes, many of them died to bring us that message.
Moment of silence.
Oh, definitely. And they truly are undead.
Yep, he kept coming back.
Yeah.
Stand back.
And
You think
The
they'd
security team was
learn.
getting pretty worried there for a little bit when they were ambushing in the middle of our line.
right. LOTRO Players News goes live every Saturday at 8:30 p.m. server time, which is United States Eastern Time. You can join us by clicking on live at the top right corner or by going to lotroplayers.com/live. Be sure to join us in the chat by following the directions on that page. And of course, join us for the Fellowship Walk, which you can go to on the live page and click on the Special Fellowship Walk live area. And you could check LOTRO Players for a complete schedule of where we'll be walking. And that is all for tonight. So until next time, this is Pine Leaf Needles. And remember to skirmish responsibly.
And happy belated birthday to Lizzie.
Yes, and
Yes.
everyone be sure to join us Saturday for the next leg of the walk at 2 p.m. Eastern server time on Landerville.
And
Don't
until
go to
then, have
Australia,
fun.
guys. It's dangerous.
Oh, look! There's nothing sinister here.
Just killer
I
birds. That's all.
promise.
Everything's
Oh,
a
then-
killer over there.
Good night.